A fishing village in China. A little girl plays in her father's boat.
爸爸要落水啦，你一個人喺外邊玩，唔好行咁出啦。
However, the girl just laughs and says there are no monsters in the water.
哈哈，係我啊！
The girl starts crying, and her father starts fooling around in the water to cheer her up. It seems like it's not a game anymore, but the girl doesn't realize her father is in danger. Something drags the man into the depths, and the water turns crimson. After the accident, the village residents believe that there is a demon in the river and invite a Taoist priest who promises to destroy a mysterious aquatic creature. People watch in amazement as the priest performs his actions, but instead of a demon, he manages to catch a giant manta ray. However, everyone is convinced that the ray is the demon. The priest accepts gifts from the locals as a token of gratitude for saving them. Suddenly, in the crowd, there is a man named Sanzang who claims that they are all mistaken, taking a harmless animal for a terrible demon. Sanzang claims he is a Buddhist monk who is also a demon hunter. He is sure that the demon has not yet appeared and that everyone needs to stay away from the river. However, the insane crowd doesn't believe his words and starts beating him up. The priest insists that Sanzang works for the demon and suggests that people calmly enter the river. People joyfully jump into the water and ignore Sanzang's warnings, and they are about to execute him. Have you ever had a situation when you told the truth, but no one believed you? Write it in the comments. Suddenly, a real demon appears in the water. The crowd rushes to get out of the river, but the huge monster starts devouring one villager after another. The surviving villagers run away from the water and fall silent, but suddenly the daughter of the first victim sees her mother and runs to her. The demon re-emerges from the water and attacks the poor girl. The villagers try their best to save her, but the demon is relentless. The distraught mother jumps into the river, hoping to avenge the monster. She demands her daughter back, but the demon attacks her too. The demon destroys buildings around the river, and the woman loses her balance, almost dropping the baby, who could end up in the monster's mouth. Meanwhile, Sanzang manages to break free from the ropes. He immediately rushes to help the baby and skillfully snatches the child from the water, handing it back to the mother. The demon ends up on a platform, and all the villagers try to throw it back to the shore, but without any success. Suddenly, a gigantic woman emerges from the crowd, her footsteps trembling the ground. She jumps onto the platform and sends the demon straight towards the deceitful priest. Back on the shore, the demon turns into an ordinary young man. The village residents are determined to destroy him, but Sanzang has a better idea. The demon hunter prepares for a ritual and takes out a book of 300 nursery rhymes. He is confident that children's psalms will awaken goodness in the demon, and he will stop being evil. And how would you fight a demon? Write it in the comments. Sanzang gets ready to perform one of the rhymes and begins singing, which confuses the surviving villagers and the man who turned into a demon. But the demon can't handle the weird ritual. Suddenly, a girl named Duan appears from the crowd. She grabs the demon by the hair and starts beating him up. Then Duan takes out a magical scarf and seals the demon in a ball, transforming him into a puppet. Sanzang comes to his senses, and Duan asks what he does for a living. The demon hunter proudly announces that he is a song collector. Duan starts hysterically laughing at him, and the villagers worship her as their savior. Disheartened, Sanzang goes to his master and tells him about his failure. The master explains that once a man saved a child from the river, but the locals mistook him for a kidnapper and drowned him in the river. His soul was filled with hatred and resentment, and he soon turned into a water demon. The master is confident that one should not lose faith in the power of children's songs, which awaken goodness in any demon, and Sanzang must continue to improve himself and strive for enlightenment. However, this doesn't calm Sanzang down, and he leaves his teacher in tears. Meanwhile, a young couple visits a family hotel in the mountains, where they are served fried pork. The young people admire the delicious dish and the luxurious interior. Suddenly, the chef appears in the hall, and the impressed girl starts asking him many questions. The chef only smiles suspiciously and gestures, but soon he reveals his true nature. Turns out the hotel chef is a demon. Suddenly, the beautiful candles turn into pitchforks, and in the pig carcasses, they discover roasted people. The young couple screams in horror, and suddenly the chef attacks them with huge pitchforks. At night, Sanzang comes to the hotel and sees a crowd of people in the hall. The demon administrator politely tells Sanzang about the hotel's amenities, but it's not easy to deceive him. Sanzang has an amazing gift of seeing the truth and immediately notices that all the guests are reanimated corpses of his victims. Sanzang declares that he is a demon hunter and demands the demon administrator to reveal himself. Suddenly, from behind Sanzang, Duan appears and immediately starts dealing with the demon. She asks Sanzang not to interfere and then destroys all the zombies with her endless flying rings. The demons multiply, but Duan easily defeats them. Now she is ready to confront the chef demon. However, the main demon proves to be too powerful even for Duan. Hundreds of rings she relentlessly throws don't stop him. The demon chef almost impales Duan with the pitchforks, but the rings help the huntress defend herself. Suddenly, the chef starts transforming into an evil boar. Duan does her best to restrain the horrifying demon and calls for Sanzang's help. Duan informs Sanzang that the demon's soul is in his throat, and now the frightened Sanzang must suck it out. He struggles with disgust and fear, but eventually manages to suck the soul of the boar demon. Duan takes the soul into her mouth with a kiss, and then releases it into a magic bag. However, she can't contain the incredibly powerful demon. Duan and Sanzang flee from the collapsing hotel, but the boar demon chases after them. Finally, they find safety deep in the forest. Injured Duan undresses and asks Sanzang to press the wound on her chest, which greatly embarrasses him. Then Duan closes her eyes and waits for a kiss, but Sanzang doesn't get the hint. And when Duan pulls him closer, the young monk scaredly runs away into the forest. In the morning, Sanzang goes back to his master and finds out that he had known about the boar demon all along. He used to be a kind and loving man, but his wife cheated on him, and they both killed him with pitchforks. Sanzang asks the master for help in dealing with such a powerful demon. The teacher advises him to seek out the legendary demon Wukong, Monkey King, to subdue the pig demon. He tells Sanzang how to find Monkey King and warns that he is very cunning and evil. As a parting gift, he hands Sanzang a collection of nursery rhymes and urges him to use all his knowledge. Sanzang sets off on his journey but gets trapped by a gang in the forest who hunts both demons and hunters. Captured, Sanzang meets Duan, who they kidnapped before. Duan tries to protect Sanzang in front of the kidnappers and claims that he is her husband, not a demon hunter, just a simple music teacher. The gang members demand proof that they are a married couple and force them to make love. Terrified, Sanzang resists, even though their lives depend on it. However, it soon turns out that the gang and the kidnapping were all a setup orchestrated by Duan. The girl fell in love with the young monk and now wants to win his affection at any cost. Shocked by Duan's deceitfulness, Sanzang plans to leave. However, the girl doesn't give up and locks him in a carriage. Duan asks her friend Sai how to seduce Sanzang, and Sai comes up with an idea. Sai sticks obedience amulets on herself and Duan. This way, Duan will mimic all of Sai's movements, which are sure to attract Sanzang. Enthusiastic, Duan goes to Sanzang, but the plan fails when Sai gets into an argument with one of the gang members. Duan runs away, accidentally leaving the amulet on Sanzang. Sai returns to her duties and starts performing a seductive dance, which Sanzang is now forced to imitate. The guards burst into Sanzang's room, but he continues dancing and luring them in. The bewildered guards decide to knock some sense into the crazy monk and start beating him, calling him a pervert. Finally, Sai intervenes and asks the guards to leave Sanzang alone. The argument is suddenly interrupted by the appearance of the boar demon. The gang jumps into the carriage and tries to escape, but the demon catches up to them and prepares to swoop down on the carriage. Duan immediately pushes Sanzang out of the carriage, and the demon crashes into her, shattering her into pieces. Sanzang rushes to help Duan, who seems to be badly injured from the collision. He tries to revive her, hunting her and begging her not to leave him, but it turns out that Duan is perfectly fine, and it was just another attempt to win his love. The idyll is interrupted by the boar demon. Suddenly, another demon hunter with incredible tiger power, Fist of the North Star, steps in to fight the demon. Also, another demon hunter, Almighty Foot, joins the fight too. He wants to defeat the bored demon and become the best demon hunter. Now the men want to fight each other, but suddenly a third contender for the title of the best demon hunter appears, Prince Important. All three start arguing about who is stronger and more powerful, but they are soon interrupted by Sanzang. He condemns them for their vanity and greed and states that they are not worthy of being called true demon hunters. Duan rushes to Sanzang and supports him, but Sanzang rejects Duan and accuses her of being a hindrance on his path to nirvana. He is about to leave but demands that she returns the collection of the nursery rhymes. Furious at Sanzang's words, Duan seeks revenge right away. Duan attacks Sanzang and yells that he is nothing without her, and that it's thanks to her that he's still alive. Sanzang leaves, and after a long journey, finally arrives at the Five-Finger Mountain, where he finds numerous pictures. Soon he notices a large white lotus, blocking the entrance to a deep cave. Sanzang enters the cave, but suddenly an insane man rushes at him, hugging and kissing the astonished monk. The man claims that he is Wukong. Wukong explains that 500 years ago, when he was just a regular monkey, Buddha trapped him in this cave. All this time, Wukong studied Buddhist scriptures and thus destroyed the demon within himself. Sanzang asks for Wukong's help in defeating the pig demon. However, Wukong is very cunning, and his main goal is to escape from the cave at any cost. He tries to convince Sanzang that the seal Buddha used to trap him in the cave will help him get rid of all the demons. Wukong insists that Sanzang should take the seal for himself, but the monk sees through his deceit. In despair, Wukong tries to run out of the cave, but he fails. Sanzang explains to Wukong that if he truly reforms, Buddha will notice it and set him free. He suggests that Wukong perform a good deed and help him defeat the pig demon. Wukong complains that in all 500 years, he hasn't eaten a single piece of his beloved bananas, and Sanzang immediately hands him the coveted fruit. Wukong softens and reveals that the pig demon used to love watching his wife dance in the moonlight. He claims that they need to find a girl who will sing and dance under the full moon. That will definitely lure the boar. Suddenly, Duan jumps into the cave. She offers her help and agrees to be the bait for the pig demon. At night, Duan climbs the mountain and begins to sing and dance. Sanzang plays music for her and can't take his eyes off her, falling more in love with Duan. Soon, the demon appears. He hears Wukong's voice and peeks into the cave, which immediately sucks him in. As a result, the huge boar transforms into a harmless piglet, and Duan turns him into another puppet. Duan confesses her love to Sanzang again and puts a ring on him, wanting to be a good wife and mother. However, Sanzang says he doesn't love her and tries to take off the ring. It won't come off, and he contemplates cutting off his finger, but Duan stops him and removes the ring herself. Duan wants to give him the repaired collection of nursery rhymes, but Sanzang refuses, and Duan leaves. Saddened, Sanzang exits the cave and looks at the moon, thinking of Duan. Suddenly, Wukong complains that the flower is blocking his beautiful view of the sky. Sanzang plucks the white lotus, but suddenly all the flowers burst into flames. Wukong breaks free from the cave in a ball of fire and transforms into a monkey. He throws Sanzang off the mountain, but leaves him alive and mocks him for his naivety. However, Sanzang asserts that Buddha sees everything and begins to pray, glorifying him. In rage, Wukong starts pulling hair from Sanzang's head, but his faith remains unshaken. Suddenly, Wukong notices demon hunters nearby. They argue again about who is stronger and take turns fighting Wukong. Fist of the North Star attacks Wukong, but the demon monkey bites his throat in response. Almighty Foot grows a huge foot and tries to crush Wukong, but the demon pierces the giant's soul. Prince Important directs all his magical swords at the demon monkey, but even they can't defeat Wukong. With a furious roar, Wukong charges at the demon hunters and destroys them. Wukong comes back to Sanzang, but suddenly Duan appears behind him. She attacks the monkey with her rings, but they all fall apart. Duan lunges at Wukong with her bare hands, but he instantly stops her with a powerful hit to the head. Before leaving this world, Duan asks if Sanzang ever loved her. In tears, the monk confesses that he loved her from the very first day and will love her for 1,000 years. He puts the ring on his finger and finally kisses Duan, but she no longer feels anything. Suddenly, Wukong tosses Duan's body. and it scatters into many glowing particles. However, Sanzang is determined to defeat the demon. He notices the repaired collection of rhymes that Duan turned into a scripture in front of him. The monk starts reciting words of his book into sutras, summoning Buddha, who appears from the mountain. Wukong destroys the stone Buddha, but soon the real Buddha appears over the entire earth, destroying the demon with his giant fiery palm. Sanzang achieves enlightenment and returns to his master. The master asserts that now Sanzang is ready for the journey to the west to bring light and knowledge to the world. The 3 tamed demons become Sanzang's disciples. Water Demon, Pig Demon, and Monkey King have been turned into humans named Sheep Wujing, Zhu Beiji, and Sun Wukong. Altogether, they set off to India across the desert in search of the 22 Buddhist sacred scriptures that will help alleviate human suffering. Do you think the heroes will be able to confront evil in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget that the best comments will appear in the next video. And here is the best comment from the previous video. See you later.